With regards to nutrition, when you were focusing on muscle growth, we'll stick to that. In simple terms, how were you typically doing things? Were you still tracking your macros and calories? Were you big into that or?
Usually off season, I didn't track my nutrition. I was very cognizant of how much protein I was taking in. But I'll tell you this story because it was kind of funny. Back in the mid 80s, are you familiar with John Perillo?
The name rings a bell, actually.
He was pimping MCT oils back then. He had a group of really top IFBB pros that he was coaching. So he was writing these articles for the magazines, talking about how he had his guys eating 8 to 10,000 calories a day in the off season and 5 to 6,000 calories a day during contest prep. So I keep reading these articles over and over. I'm like, maybe there's something to it. And
Mm.
so one year in the off season, I was force feeding myself. I was eating 5 big meals a day. For dinner, I would eat a pound of hamburger.
Oh, wow.
So I was competing at that time. I was a lightweight in the NPC, competing at 154 pounds, and I got up to 185, and I'm walking around like, "Oh, I'm huge! I'm huge." By the time I dieted back down in contest shape, I was only 1 pound heavier. I was like, "What a waste of money and time." And so after that, my philosophy was to try to stay within 8 to 12 pounds of contest shape in the off season. And that served me much better than, doing this bulking. I hate that term, bulking,
Mm.
cutting. You got to cut because you can't stay in contest shape all the time. At my best, I got down to on my skin desk calipers, I was 2.3%.
Oh, wow. What weight were you at that time? 170?
About 170, yeah. When people ask me about bulking, it's like, no, don't think of it as bulking. Think of it as relaxing your diet a little bit, being able
Right.
to eat more carbs, but don't let it get out of control. You don't have to get fat to put on muscle.
So would you say that you actually were able to put on muscle more effectively by staying about 12 pounds away from stage?
Yes.
Wow, that's really cool and really encouraging too.
Yeah, part of it is when you do start your contest dieting, you start your cutting phase, it's much easier to maintain all that muscle that you gained if you don't have to diet as hard as if you got fat, like I did that year. So to retain the muscle you gain, if you only have 10 pounds to lose in 12 weeks, you can retain all the muscle that you gained in the off season. If you got, say, 30, 40 pounds to lose, you're going to have to do a lot more cardio. You're going to have to be more restrictive on your diet in order to get back into contest shape. And you're going to lose muscle. It's just happens. It's unavoidable.
Now, I don't know how your experience was with this, but the only time I saw a real benefit from like really putting on a lot of weight was when I was like 120 pounds soaking wet. And I bulked up to like, I think it was like 180 or something like this,
Whoa.
like ridiculous. But to be fair, maybe I didn't have to get up that high. And that was the only time I ever
Yeah,
felt that I experienced benefit from quote unquote bulking, i.e., a massive surplus, or I wouldn't say massive surplus, just I guess being a bit more relaxed than I would now with it, right? Where I do tend to stay a lot leaner than other bodybuilders would advise. Like there's like two camps with it, right? Some say you have to, especially as
At,
you're
at,
more advanced, but
at what age?
I was only like 18.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so I was really young. So
Yeah, you were still in growth phase.
yes, yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. Was it similar for you at that age? Did you have that experience personally, or was yours more gradual?
Well, like I said, I didn't get into actual bodybuilding style training until after I got out of college. I was real little as a kid. When I was a freshman in high school, I remember doing my football physical. I was like 5'4", weighed 115 pounds. And so I was a little wiry kid. So my dad was in the Air Force at that time. And so in the wintertime, I decided I want to try to get bigger, stronger. I think I had a pair of 20-pound dumbbells at the house. So what I did was every morning and every night, I would do 2 sets of failure of dumbbell curls and overhead presses. So I would do them every night before I went to bed, and I would get pumped up before I went to school every morning. And
That's
so I
awesome.
did this for 3 months, and then I went to the base gym 3 times a week. They had a universal weight machine, and so I would do everything on the weight machine. And in 3 months, I gained 15 pounds and added 3 inches to my arms. And so I went from 115 to 130. I was a huge baseball player at that time. Baseball season started up, and so I quit lifting at that juncture. I wish I would have kept it up at that time, at that age. And then when I was in high school, we had a universal gym in our field house. We didn't have any free weights. We didn't lift weights for athletics because in the mid 70s, coaches still thought that lifting weights would make you muscle bound and slower. So I lifted on the machines a little on my own. As a team, we did not lift weights. And so I didn't really get into bodybuilding style weight training until after I got out of college and joined a gym to stay in shape.
Did you experiment with trading body parts 2 times per week? Not just lagging body parts, but like upper lower kind of thing, where everything gets hit twice per week. Did you experiment with that at all?
Yeah, well, like I said, let's see, it's 83. So for 10 years, I would hit body parts twice a week. And like I said, my progress